Welcome to another edition of the Manifesto show, the show that gives you an opportunity to get to listen to different presidential candidates contesting in this coming election and understanding from their perspective on how they intend to take this country forward. And today on the program, I'm joined by Bishop Trevor Mwamba, who's going to have a conversation with me. Of course, Bishop Trevor Mwamba is the president of the UNIP party. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Danji. It's a pleasure to be with you.
And thank you very much for having us at your residence here. We are super excited to be here.
It's my pleasure to welcome you.
Yes. Let's just get down to it. Tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Bishop Trevor Mwamba and why has he made a decision to run for office?
Bishop Trevor Mwamba is a child of Zambia, a proud Zambian. I was born in the last century in Mansa. And at the time when I was born, my father was teaching at an Anglican college called St. Mark's College in Mapanza. So my mother went to Mansa, where she was born, to give birth. And then after my birth, went back to Mapanza. So for the first 5-6 years of my life, I grew up in the southern province in Mapanza at St. Mark's College. And the first language actually which I spoke was Tonga, so Mulikamotu. So after 5-6 years of my early existence, my father moved to Chinsali, and he was the first headmaster at Chinsali. He opened Kenneth Kaunda Secondary School. This was around 1965. And after 2-3 years then, he went into the diplomatic service, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he was posted to Washington, D.C., America, as a deputy ambassador. And when he was there, so we all went there as a family. So I grew up partly in the U.S. and in Washington. And my father served under 5 ambassadors. And when we arrived, the ambassador at the time was Mr. Lupia Banda. And then he left, and of course, as you are aware, Mr. Banda later became our Republican president. And then after him came Mr. Maiza Chona. And he also later became vice president. Then after Mr. Chona came Mr. Andrew Mutemba. And I was a minister. And after he left came Mr. Union Mwila. That's when we left. So my father served under these ambassadors, came back to Lusaka, right here where we are in Kabulonga. And I went to Kabulonga Secondary School, where I completed my, what was in Cambridge certificate. And then I had to do national service. At the time when we left school, we had to do national service. So I went to Katete, where I did my military training. And having finished then, I went, was admitted to the University of Zambia, and where I read law. And at the time, it would be interesting to know that one of my classmates, or some of my classmates, was our Republican president, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Also, having all experienced the decision of the Constitutional Court, the president of the Constitutional Court, Hilda Chivomba, was my classmate. And the dissenting judge in that decision, Professor Margaret Manglula, was also my classmate. So these are some of my classmates in my law school. Having finished law, I then thought what to do in life. I come from a very religious family. My mother is a very devout woman, a woman of God, Anglican. My father also is a very devout Christian and church warden at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross. So we grew up as children under the influence of faith. And I found myself, as I was finishing my law studies, attracted and drawn to the church and feeling this pull towards the church, or this impulse. So when I completed my law studies, I realized that I think my path lay in going into the church as a priest. So I left after completing my law studies and working very briefly, the Minister of Legal Affairs. I went to England to study at Oxford, where I read theology. And having completed my theology degree and training as a priest, I was ordained in London at St. Luke's, Chelsea, and worked very briefly in a parish in Notting Hill. And some of you follow the England and the film world. There was a film entitled Notting Hill with Hugh Grant. That's where I was. So I came back to Zambia in 1985 and was posted to Luanshya as a parish priest. And so I was a parish priest there for 2 years. And our church, the Anglican Church, is comprised of various provinces. This is Anglican Church worldwide. And in Africa, there are 12 provinces, and Zambia falls under what is called the province of Central Africa. And the province of Central Africa comprises Zambia, the Anglican Church in Zambia, the Anglican Church in Zimbabwe, the Anglican Church in Malawi, and the Anglican Church in Botswana. And at the time, this is 1987, I was appointed by the Archbishop, who was then the Bishop of Botswana, to become the Secretary General of our province. So I relocated from Luanshya to Botswana, but I had jurisdiction working with the bishops in Zambia, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe, as the executive officer.
Just on that note, did that decision of service begin having a set of momentum from that perspective for you now to decide that this is the time to serve the Zambian people in this particular area or position as the president?
It goes, yes, it begins way back. And I'm just describing how my progression in life has been, but mainly in the church. And the church is at the root of all people, where the people live, whether it's the Anglican Church, whether it's the Catholic Church, whether it's the UCZ, Pentecostal, and all. We are where the people are. So that frames you, shapes you. You understand the trials and the challenges and the difficulties that people pass through. So yes, that framed me. But my decision to go into politics comes much, much, much later. And it has to do with how I was born, and maybe you find that interesting.
Yeah, quite interesting, and it's good that the Zambian people are hearing it from you. And I understand that we have a sad development. Of course, our founding father, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, is in hospital, and I just wanted to get it from your perspective as a party. How are you faring and coping with this sad development?
Well, of course, our prayers with our founding father, our founding president, the father of the nation. And not just that, he's the father of Africa at this point in time. He's the only founding member of the old founding president who's still alive, for which we give God thanks. So, yes, our prayers are with him. And of course, we hold dearly to the values which have shaped and inspired our founding father as UNIP. And it gives us that encouragement that we should uphold the values that the founding fathers instilled and brought about in their leadership as UNIP led Zambia into independence and economic progress and prosperity. If you contrast where we are now to where we were and the 27 years of UNIP, I mean, we're in a dark space and we need to get back to that. So yes, we hold to that. And in fact, us as UNIP right now contesting for in my case, the presidency of this country and various members of parliament, we want to get back to those roots and those values that propelled and prospered Zambia, that took into consideration all Zambians and their welfare, their living standards, and so on. So those are the issues that we are faced with, and it's about living to the true values of what UNIP stood for, principles, moral leadership. And
speaking about principles is something that we're going to talk about when we come back from our first break, of course.
Very well.
We'll take up our first break. Make sure you like our Facebook, that's Live TV, as well as our Instagram page, that's Live TV. Or you can catch us on Top Star Channel 112. We'll be right back.
What's up, my people, my country people? Guess what? It is the Next Gen season 2. We are coming bigger, better, funnier. We have a whole lot of creatives lined up for you. This particular season is proudly sponsored by Lusaka Institute of Applied Sciences every Saturday, and we are clocked at 14 hours. Do not miss it, because you'll be missing your own entertainment. It is your favorite TV host, Mr. Martin Lawrence Mutale. Hey, let's do this.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Manifesto show, and on the program, of course, I'm having a conversation with the president of the UNIP, that is Bishop Trevor Mwamba. And just from where we left off, Zambia is in dire need of a great leader. And when I say great leader, I'm talking about people that can bring vast development, empower people with the right capacity building skills that can elevate them from poverty. Now, as a party, you are unique in your own way in terms of solving problems. Let's begin from the issue of high cost of living that we are experiencing in our country. And I'm talking about a situation where, for example, sugar now you can, I personally myself, I'm getting sugar at 41, 42 kwacha, which should not be the case. Why should we move forward as a country?
Precisely. But let me just give a background to where we are and why we're here. And this is to do with the fact it's about moral leadership, where before I adjourned, I talked about principles, moral principles. I think the challenge for all of us Zambians is to do with our morality. It's an issue of morals. I'm looking at these elections from the context of morals, principles, values. What is it that defines us as Zambians? What is it that makes us truly Zambians? If we look at UNIP and its ideology, its philosophy right at the beginning, it taught us the philosophy of humanism. People say, well, what is this about? Well, humanism simply seeks to highlight that we need to live by certain values in life in order to succeed, in order to make life meaningful. What are these values? The first values are the importance of you as a human being. We are all made in the image of God. And if I do not see that image of God in you, then I will not respect you. I will not reverence you. We need to understand that. So UNIP, in the context of humanism, sought to highlight the importance of every individual. And therefore, all the policies that UNIP did was to enable each Zambian to benefit and to also grow to their full potential. But these values were values of honesty. Honesty. Where is the honesty now? These values were values of integrity. Where is the integrity in our individual lives, and in that context in our workplace and in our institutions? Where is this integrity? These values were values of respect of one another. And hence we did not say you come from such and such an area, I come from such and such an area, therefore I'm better than you. There was no tribalism because of respect.
Our country seemed to be in a position of a division.
Of course.
In as much as it's a heated year of election,
yes,
we are seeing a lot of fight between political parties.
Yes.
Now, as UNIP, how do you plan changing the narrative of what is going on? Because looking at the fundamental pillar that this country stood for, the one Zambia, one nation, seemed to be blurred. How do we then come back to that narrative?
Precisely. It's what I'm trying to highlight here. It's because of certain values, principles, moral values, spiritual values. These values are also ultimately founded on God. And hence, in the context of our constitution, when we say Zambia is a Christian nation, what do we mean by that? We mean that we are all children of God. We're a family, one Zambia, one nation. We are together, and we should not divide amongst ourselves and think we're better than one or a person from one area and so forth. But it is to understand that we all matter. But above all, these values are about service. And this is the important thing in an election year that we must look for in our leaders. Do they display values of integrity, of honesty, of service? Are they there to serve? Because public service is not about how people look at politics right now. For them, it's like a business gamble.
So character will play a very important role.
Absolutely. Character plays a very important role. And if somebody is not honest in small little things, do you think that if you entrust them with big things and big budgets, they will be honest? No, because their character is wired in such a way that a thief will always be a thief. It's just a question of magnitude. So we need to look for people of compassion, of honesty, God-fearing people, people who are there to serve others. And that is why in the context of one brought up in the church, it's not about what can I get out of you, it's what can I give. So I look at it in the context that in life we are blessed with gifts in order to bless others. So we must be there to work amongst ourselves to help each other. And that is, I think, the way that we should approach things. So in addressing the issues that we are facing right now, they are moral issues. So we need to get back to that space of belief in God above all. So when you say we're a Christian nation, what we're saying is this, that Christianity is about to love God with all our heart and to love our neighbor as ourselves. But it's also, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. It's also about where there's somebody who is in need of water, who is thirsty, give them some water. Somebody who's hungry, give them some food. Somebody who's naked, clothe them. Are we doing this as Zambians? I think that we are in a space and a position where people don't have these values. It's all about me, myself, and I. What can I get out of this? And then we misuse public service, the role of a politician or anybody entrusted with public service. They use their office to enrich themselves. That should not be the case. And I think we should run away from that by getting back to the true values that defines us as Zambians.
Yeah. Zambia has had success stories since 1964. And before 1964, of young, vibrant people who were focused and determined to change the country.
Right.
But also looking at the fact that since 1964, we had about 100 graduates who were helping in supporting and helping the economy function. But now we have more graduates, less jobs. And now the outcry is, how do they, since UNIP is trying to come back into government, how then what alternative or solutions are they bringing on the table for people who are, for example, more graduates on the street, not employed? What solutions are there under UNIP? And also looking at the fact that there are other people who are not in school who need support from government. I think scholarship now has become a problem and challenge, according to some statistics by certain CSO organizations. Now, how do we begin moving forward?
Again, you see, it's planning, it's leadership. When we became Zambia as an independent state in 1964, you're right, there were about 100 graduates. But yet, most schools were built, university was built, and the education system was tailored to ensure that when you left university or some technical college, the jobs were waiting for you. So it's about planning. You can't just have people saying, okay, yes, we've got 1,000 lawyers, we've got 500 doctors, we've got all this, but where are they going? We must have an educational system, a curriculum that is targeting the education system to meet the needs of modern Zambia right now. So, for example, in the context of agriculture, there's so much potential there. Our universities, our training colleges, and technical colleges should be gearing and training people to be able to provide value and resource, man, woman power in the agro sector, and in a way that the agro sector becomes a big economic generating revenue. Technical, tourism, our education system should be training people who go into the tourist sector. So what I'm saying simply that the early leadership was in its planning, had foresight, and that's what we need to do.
But somebody would argue, the government that is there, the PF government, for example, somebody would argue to say that they do push in policies of planning that shows the direction of maybe, for example, diversifying the economy. But where is the problem, and what is UNIP doing about in terms of solving once in government?
Well, one of the things, again, you need the political will, the ability to implement those policies, and you need the right people to implement those policies. If you're the wrong people there, you can give them all the, research and plans that have been done, but to really actualize that, you need people who are able to deliver that. And I think we have that skill base in Zambia, internally amongst our Zambian people within Zambia, externally amongst the diaspora. A lot of brilliant people who can tell us this is what needs to be done in order to accomplish this task. And in that sense, you need a type of leadership that can identify people who will be there to work and bring about these changes and policies that need to be implemented.
We're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we'll dig deeper into the conversation of local investment and see how the possibilities of the UNIP government, of course, how they will bring about promotion of local investments as a way of promoting young entrepreneurs in Zambia so that they can have a sustainable life. We'll be right back.
What's up, my people, my country people? Guess what? It is the next Jam season 2. We are coming bigger, better, funnier. We have a whole lot of creatives lined up for you. This particular season is proudly sponsored by Lusaka Institute of Applied Sciences every Saturday, and we are clocked at 14 hours. Do not miss it, because you'll be missing your own entertainment. It is your favorite TV host, Mr. Martin Lawrence Mutale. Hey, let's do this.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Manifesto Show, channel 112 on your top star decoder, and I'm still having a conversation with Bishop Trevor Mwamba, who is actually the president of UNIP Party. Local investment. How significant and important is local investment, and what's the future for local investment?
Extremely important. In fact, focus should be given to enable Zambians, as I say, a lot of talented Zambians within as entrepreneurs, to encourage them to go, well, agriculture, there's the whole processing dimension, adding value, tourism, which I've mentioned. What about minerals, gemstones? The Zambia's emeralds, apart from Chile, are one of the very best in the world. We need entrepreneurs in fields like that. And other areas, entrepreneurship, but the focus should be given to Zambians to enter into these various industries. And government should be an enabling partner to enable Zambians. So just as you give lots of concessions and breaks to external investors coming in, the same facilities should be given to Zambians who want to enter into these areas, various fields. We think of copper, for example. We should encourage more Zambians to enter into mining. And not just mining, but also adding value. The add value is the most important thing. We're in a situation right now where, of course, copper prices, they are highest, but that's because the world is changing. Copper is becoming one of the most sought after commodities because of the whole climate change issue, where in many countries, in Europe, America, and of course Africa, where cars will go electric. And one of the most important components of that is copper. And so we would want to encourage local investors, Zambians, focus, to enter into these areas where they can produce these components which will be used for international markets. And in a way that, in encouraging local investors, they can also partner with foreign to enable that the quality and standards are of high quality. So the point is simply that local investors are a priority for my government, my party, UNIP, once we're in government, that we will want to help and enable people with the skills to make a living. And in the process, they'll be able to employ others and hence generating jobs and lifting the living standards of our people. These are just examples, but look at industries of producing furniture and other industries are just electrical gadgets and things like that. We've got engineers who can do those things. The government should be there to enable our people, local investors, give them all the facilities they need, all the training that they need, and resources that they need. That's how...
It's good that you've mentioned resources, because I wanted to come to the fact that the skills, they might say they have the skills, but it's the issue of the resources.
Okay.
I think resources has been a major concern.
Absolutely.
How do people access resources? It's a concern from many entrepreneurs in Zambia. And one of the case study, because I did a case study on my own, of course, I went in the community and I wanted to share it with you. Excellent. So maybe we can begin from a realistic point of view.
Yes.
I chatted with some SMEs and they told me personally to say that, look, I have the drive to run a business, a successful business, but the environment is not conducive enough. It might be they might say that it is conducive enough, but it's not. And access to resources is another challenge because you might apply for resource to government, which is supposed to help you in that situation, but it's just tough to get resources from the government. So now, how will you make it simpler for somebody like John, the one I spoke to in Matero, for example, who's managing a small business, who's have little knowledge about how to fill in a huge form, but is capable of running a successful business and employing others?
Very good. Well, you mentioned government. Well, it's not the UNIP government. I mean, the UNIP government, in fact, if you look back, after independence, it created over 250 companies which were there. And to enable Zambians, cereals, for example, is in terms of manufacturing suits and so on. The quality was so high, you could find these suits on Oxford Street.
When did we lose it?
Exactly the point. But what was happening? It was a unique government enabling our local productions or entrepreneurs and the local production to be elevated to such a level. So first, we must make it easy for those with the skills. That's why I said enabling climate, but also help give them the skills, give them the training, partner with them. In fact, what we'll do is sort of like work with them until they reach a stage where they can now go on their own. Provide them with the expertise, provide them the people who have the training and the skills. writing proposals, applying for bank loans and all that, the government will be there by their side to enable them to achieve their purposes, because the purpose of the government is to enable all Zambians to realize their full potential, whatever field that may be, whether it is in culture, drama, the arts, and just broadening it. The government should be there to help our people reach their potential. That's what the UNIP government would do. That's what UNIP government did in the past.
And as we wind up, your last message to the Zambian people, looking at what, I know there's a lot of things that we should have touched, but time is not friendly. But just to rest words in regards to what the UNIP plans to do for the Zambian people moving forward.
Well, it's not so much what the UNIP government plans to do for the Zambian people as what the Zambian people should do for themselves. And in that way, we work together. Our part is simply to draw the Zambian people to their true selves, their true identity. It's about values, which we started off. It's about morals. It's about respecting one another. I want the UNIP government to bring back that sense of dignity, self-respect, that sense of valuing ourselves, that we all matter, and therefore we all have a contribution to make to the development of this country. And as a president and as a party, we want to encourage and inspire people to live up to the very best of themselves. And in so doing, we develop the country and we improve our living standards, because we'll be working for the good of all Zambians. This is what I see as the important thing. But therefore, in order to arrive at this, we Zambians must be very wise in who we vote into power. Because again, it's about values. It's about character, as you rightly pointed out. And the right people will bring about good for all. The wrong people and this country will be, once upon a time, there was this great country which started off so good and disappeared. But that will not happen, because I think Zambians are wise, Zambians are good-hearted people, Zambians are very peaceful people. So we must live to these values which are, and the spirit which is within all Zambians. And the UNIP government will provide that. And as president of Zambia, that's what my task is about that. It's about helping all God's children realize the God-given potential that He has given us. And above all, realizing the potential that He has given Zambia for the benefit of Zambians, the benefit of the region, the benefit of the world, because we're in a global world, but we must live up to the best in ourselves.
Bishop Trevor Mwamba, thank you very much for the interview, and all the best in this coming election.
Thank you very much, Danji.
Okay, there you had it, Zambia. Thank you very much for watching the Manifesto. Until next time, it's bye-bye and God bless.
God bless. Thank you. I hope that was all right.
Yeah, it was good.